When was the last time you had a deep conversation about dating, finding a job, reaching our goals, and all the other intricate areas that make up our 20s? Every episode, I talk about these topics with real young adults who are living and learning along with the rest of us. If you want to hear how your peers are dealing with and conquering these areas of life, tune in. This is Building the Blueprint. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Nick.
I'm excited to have you.
I'm glad. It's a cool little setup you got in here. I'm excited to get after it.
Just wait till next term. Big setups to come.
I've heard big things.
Big things coming.
I have heard.
You've had a busy day.
Yeah, I started at like 9 today, and I did have an hour gap because the meeting went short. That was beautiful. I actually had to eat lunch, so that was awesome. But yeah, during my early weeks are brutal. Or like early in the week is brutal compared to the back half. So
yeah. For anybody listening right now, it's 8 p.m. So you've been working from 9 to 8 with minor breaks in between.
Yeah, I had that's basically my schedule these days.
Yep, busy. All right. So for everyone to get to know you a little better, we're going to do speed questions. Are you ready?
Yeah,
so you got to go fast, okay?
Okay.
All right. Where are you from?
Dublin, California, which is in East Bay, California Bay Area.
What's your major?
I'm a business administration major.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Any siblings?
I have a younger sister who's a freshman at CC back home.
Morning person or night owl?
I'd say night owl, but I'm trying to transition into morning person. It's way more efficient to wake up early.
Favorite movie?
It used to be Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but recently I watched Fight Club, and I know it's a corny pick, but I really liked it.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee. I need my coffee every morning.
Favorite type of food?
I would say I love a good steak dinner. I feel like I've mastered it, but genre of food, I would say Italian.
One thing you can't live without?
I feel like I need showers. Like I feel like it's part of my whole thing. I wake up and I need to shower. Like my friends are like, dude, we didn't even do anything. Like on a guy's trip, they're like, oh, I'm not showering. Like no, I need a shower, even 2 every day.
Favorite hobby?
I wish I was a hooper, man. I love to hoop. Like I love playing basketball. I'm not good at it, but like it's one of my favorite things that I wish I had more time for.
Lastly, dream job.
To run my own business. I want to build some of my own, kind of run that thing and kind of have that freedom to like run something and solve problems with it.
Showers might be the funniest answer I've ever heard for that. I actually love that so much.
I need it. Like I can't.
No, that's so good.
Because like on the roll, I was like, I'm trying to think like, what do I use every day?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what do I need to like complete my day? And it's a shower.
It's a shower.
Like
how many showers? How much time do you shower a day?
If I work out, it's twice. But no matter what, whenever I wake up, it's I roll out and go straight to the bathroom, turn the shower on. It's like I have like a whole ritual. Like if I have something at 9, I wake up at 7:30. I wake up an hour and a half before. And yeah, shower is part of that. I also part of that math is a 15-minute snooze. So I know I have something at 9, alarm 7:30, but I know I'm sleeping till at least 7. Like I snooze it, 15-minute. Like okay, let's get moving.
Yep.
Get out of bed, shower. Get the coffee brewing, change, sit and play the LinkedIn games while drinking my coffee.
LinkedIn games.
LinkedIn games.
What are LinkedIn games?
You gotta tap in, bro.
Is it just like
so there's Tango, Queens, Cross Climb, and Pinpoint.
Okay.
So Tango is a 6x6 grid with 2 different icons, and in each row there has to be 3 of each icon, and then you can't have 3 of one icon in a row. And that's pretty much the base. You have to fill out the whole shape, and you get like when you get this square, you get like 2. You get a couple filled in. Queens, same concept. There's a bunch of colored squares, a big grid. You have to put a queen in each color. There can't be more than 1 in each row. You have to solve that one. Pinpoint is it gives you a word, and you have to guess what the overall category is. And as you make more and more guesses, it's like more easier to guess what the actual category is. Mm-hmm. And then Cross Climb is it's like 4-letter words. It'll give you a hint, and you have to like. But then like each word only has a 1-letter change. So it's like poke, like poke. It's like let's say it's like bat, cat, rat, rad, and then like it'll just like 1 letter will change with each hint, and then once you get the middle ones, you unlock the outer ones, and then you have to fill those ones in as well.
Do you like it better than the New York Times stuff?
I think. Yes, I just like it's way more engaging. It's a lot more fun. I do really like Strands. Strands is my favorite New York Times game.
I hate Strands.
No, Strands. I love Strands. That's my game. I Wordle's cool. I hate Connections. We always play Connections in our team meetings, but I hated Connections. But I'm definitely a Strands guy.
I play Mini, Wordle, and connections with my buddy every day.
Yeah, mini is valid. I remember I used to have a subscription, so I could like download past minis. So on planes, I would download like 3 months worth of minis and would just like
Bang them out.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you do so much? How do you do so much? You've been working since 9. It's currently 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Seems like you're a part of so many things.
Mhm.
How do you get so much done? How do you do so much?
I feel like it's because I have a reason or a passion behind them that it doesn't feel like it's a 12-hour day. Like yesterday was 9 to 11. And that was just because but like what's included in that is like an hour and a half seminar with like all the people that I'm close friends with. We had an exec meeting, but it was the last for a poker club. It was the last exec meeting of the term. So we made steak dinner while talking about everything. It was a fun time, but it is time at the end of the day. And that's like the importance for a lot of these things is that if you're not actually enjoying what you're doing or don't have a kind of idea of passion why you're doing it, it does feel like a 12-hour day, right? If you're doing 12 hours of something you don't enjoy, it's going to feel like 12 hours. If you're doing 12 hours of something you do enjoy, it's going to feel like 6. So I have catered my days into like, I have said no to things that I know I won't enjoy, right? I've like, there's been opportunities that I've been provided of like, I don't really see the time commitment for that. I don't want to pack that into my schedule. I don't want to add more. A lot of things I do is all correlated in what I like to learn. So on a day-by-day basis, I'm just genuinely passionate about what I'm doing each individual thing. Another big thing is calendar. Like I honestly don't know what I do each individual day, and I just end up like, okay, I've got this, and this today. Boom, or we're ready to go. That is what keeps me in check and making sure that I'm up to date with everything.
Is most of your work with other people?
I would say so. Like for context, Oregon Consulting Group, people oriented group. I'm client relations for the club. So literally, my entire job is interacting with clients and getting potential people to come and join. AKSI, I'm currently a member, but I used to be VP of membership, which is like the pledge parent effectively. So when that was going on, entire thing, you're interacting with about 20 plus pledges. More career services, that again, you're helping people. I used to do flight school that was helping people. Again, every single context is like very much group orientated, which I kind of like gravitate towards. I feel like I'm very much like enjoy people's company, and that's what keeps me sane. Honestly, is that like I'm interacting with people, and like that is what's fun about it. Is like you're learning from them, but also just enjoying the experience. And so that's kind of why I feel like not only am I doing the things that I enjoy, but I'm interacting with people that I enjoy to do them with, and that's what keeps me going on a long day.
What would you say to someone who's an introvert? Because I agree. Right?
Yeah.
I'm very busy, but I'm an extrovert. And so doing those things of that hour and a half long meeting, but you're with people you enjoy, like doesn't even feel like work. But what about someone who's an introvert where even if it doesn't feel like work, it's also not giving them energy, right? I think part of the superpower is extroverts kind of actually feed off of that a little bit versus getting drained from it. Like, do you think an introvert could do what you do?
I think so. It depends on the context. I think my roommate is quintessentially an introvert, but they do basically the same amount of work as I do, but for the investment group. They're very finance-based, which that group is very soloed off, right? You do spreads, you do that kind of thing. That kind of career path is for that. I feel like there's careers and everything that's aligned for someone of an introvert, right? I found that because I'm an extrovert and I enjoy people, I've catered what I do on a daily basis to that. There are things and just as much opportunities for an extrovert as there are for an introvert. Just as successful, just as opportunative, right? All those kind of things. Just as much for an introvert. You just have to be able to find them. And unfortunately, you probably have to talk to some people to do that, which an introvert might not like, but they're out there. My roommate's like a living example of it. Like he's very much to himself. He's got core 3 people he fucks with, and at the end of the day, that's what he likes. And so, but he's successful. He's exec for both the quant group and the investment group. He's going to Alvarez Marcel this summer. Like he's on par with where I feel like I am in my career, but very much the opposite when it comes to people, and he's made it work. So I think introverts just have to find the concept of where I say where it's like I know that what I like and I cater my experience to that. Introverts have to do the same thing when they're building out what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, making sure it's aligned with what they enjoy to do.
You burn out?
Yeah.
How often?
It's usually about twice a term. It's like it's honestly was happening like late last week, earlier this week. Honestly, like this has got me a little high. I was coming into like a burnout moment, but what I kind of do to fix that is like, I think the biggest thing is like honestly, it's kind of corny, but like I had booked in my calendar from like 9 onward PM of like, it was literally like beer games. It was in my Outlook calendar as beer games. I got a calendar invite from friends. And
Ben's 21, by the way.
I'm of age. very clearly of age. But like it was beer games. It was literally in the calendar.
Yeah.
And yes, it's kind of like it's corny, right? At the end of the day, that like it feels corporate, right? Which as 21-year-old you don't want. But like I conceptually booked out a time where like, no, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to not think about just doing long days. If I can't find that time, what I end up doing is like very much on weekends. I'm unplugged, if you want to call it that. I try my best to do as much as I can during the week so that I can have my Friday nights, Saturdays, Sundays. That's kind of what I build my schedule out. But at the end of the day, like I'm a 21 college student. A lot of what sounds super intense. I'm doing these long meetings, but like a lot of it are with people who are also 21 in college. So like as serious as it sounds, I have a full calendar on a day-to-day basis. I'm wearing suits for all this stuff. Like I try not to take it that serious. I try to have a lighter tone with things. It's kind of my vibe overall. You can kind of tell like Link and I were talking like my verbiage, which might come out during this podcast, is very much like
casual,
very unique. I have a very like casual tone to my voice, but like I do believe that like I've done the right things to be professional at the end of the day. But yeah, burnout's a brutal one. I don't know how you handle it, but I think for me, it's just you have to find the things that you enjoy and book out time to do those things you enjoy so that you don't feel like all you're doing is work. You have to kind of like find a section for that.
Yeah, I agree. Reset, like finding ways just to like little ways to reset is so important. Like I completely agree about the whole beer games thing. I mean, like I don't do beer games necessarily because I'm not 21 yet, but like I just find ways to like go connect with friends on the weekends of like, because being an extrovert and that gives me energy. And if you're an introvert, that can be, from 9 p.m. onward, I'm going to watch a movie and I'm locking the door and I'm having a nice dinner.
That's totally fair.
I'm going to DoorDash food, right?
Yeah.
Big thing for me too is like resetting through like how I look is actually really helpful for me. So like I take a nap, I take a shower, I shave, I put on a fit that I really like.
Again, showers are a crucial.
It all comes back to showers, dude.
I think they're essential.
They've really taken over baths nowadays, huh?
Baths are dirty. It's a soup. It's a dude soup.
One of my family friends has a quote, and he said, "A hot tub without jets is just a bath with friends."
Honestly, think about that. A hot tub is just a bath with friends.
Think about that.
With bubbles.
Yeah. But yeah, just like finding ways to reset and like feel good physically too.
Yeah.
Right? Like really helps me. Definitely like not doing anything work related is really helpful. I think for me, I'm pretty good at like doing a lot of minor breaks so that I don't have the big crash. I think the time the biggest crash comes for me is when I work really, really hard and then like I put all my expectations into this one bucket and then it doesn't work out. Like I think actually sometimes, failure in that sense definitely leads to burnout at times. You're like, why did I even do that?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What's been helping me a lot recently is this Rick Rubin quote that I heard on TikTok. Of course on TikTok. My feed is literally motivation, puppies, and sports.
It's quite a combo.
It's quite the combo.
Mine's just sports edits. That's all mine is. Just like boo, boo, boo,
just like LeBron edits.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But he was like, don't do things because you think you're going to get something for them. Do things that you find interesting. Like follow your inner guide. And I really like that. And I've been trying to do that more of like trying not to do things because I think I'm going to get something for them or because I think it's the right thing to do. But like going to things with like an actual sense of interest, like going into podcasts of like, I'm not doing a podcast to promote a book. I'm doing a podcast because I get to talk with Ben.
Yeah.
And I would do this whether or not the camera was on or not.
Oh, yeah.
Or when I go and do a speech, it's like, doing the speech of like, no, I'm doing this because I want to talk to these people, not because I think it's going to help my brand.
Yeah.
Right. And like really having that mentality of like interest and intrigue versus like, what am I going to get from this? And there's always a sense of that too. Of like, yeah, of course you do things to get things, right? Like I don't do networking calls just because I think it's fun, right? I do networking calls to like get a job.
Yeah.
But I've been very open and honest with myself about that. And that helps me, kind of keep from burning out, at least recently.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally valid. I feel like a lot of the reason people do get burned out, and we're noticing a lot, and like my friends are like, they're just packing out their schedules. Like my buddy who's not even accounting major is doing Vita, like the volunteer accounting thing. I'm like, you're not even doing, like, you're not, why?
Yeah.
You're doing it just because to slap it on the resume. And I feel like it's a reality shift of like that moment where you realize, yes, it's dope to do a bunch of things, but like I learned very early on, I was very fortunate, like a mentor of mine, like told me that like, it's all about your branding, like build a personal brand and like build like the why behind why you do everything. So naturally I kind of go towards the things that like align with what, like you said, right? Are things that I find interesting or things I enjoy just doing. And that kind of helps a lot of burnout, which we're noticing in people that are like just slapping stuff to do at the end of the day, they're the ones who are like only able to last 3 or 4 weeks until they're literally like losing weight physically. Like it's bad to watch. And like you have to, I really try and like I like do like my resume, like these things aren't all like high level on paper, but like they all say people. That's like the reason I'm doing like this summer is literally people consulting. Like everything on my brand like aligns with that title, aligns with that it is, and something that I enjoy. That's why I got the job, not because I did like 13 experiences in a term.
Yep.
There's a catering to it.
Yeah, and you have to be good at knowing when to let things go. Like I've done a lot of roles that I enjoy, but then I was like, all right, it's time for this to be over. Like I was intramural chair and social chair for my fraternity. I was like, okay, this was great.
Yeah.
But like I'm after two, 3 terms, like I'm done now.
Yeah.
Right. Or like consulting group, I loved it. Like I really love all the people and I would have loved to stay in the group. But just realistically for where I was and like what the future looked like it was just time. Right. And then that would have led to a lot of burnout and like me not being happy in the group. And like when there was a spot for somebody else who would, grow more in it. Right.
Yeah.
And building off that, I think it's a really hard and interesting distinction in terms of like saying no to things because it's not right for you. And then also saying no to things versus like finding the distinction of like, okay, I say no to something. Like, am I saying no to this thing because I'm really disciplined about taking care of my time and it's actually not something I want to do or am interested in? Or am I saying no to this thing because I'm like scared of it? I'm curious for you, like, do you ever face that? Or like, how do you find that distinction? Because that's something that I battle with a lot of going back and forth of like, no versus like, no, I'm actually just scared.
I think like I don't have the perfect answer for that. Like, honestly, I don't know sometimes. But for me, if I get like an offer for an experience, like one was, like I got asked a lot to do president for AKSI. It was like the one that like was very much on my plate. I had a good crowd who were supporting me. I loved the group. I had a good amount of time in it. But like for me, I knew I wasn't scared of it because I knew a part of me wanted to do it. And I realized that like, what is the value of me doing it, right? At the end of the day, would it be valuable to lead a chapter like that and kind of do everything like in that nature? Yes. Is it valuable enough for me to like lose some of the other things that I actually do care about? Because for me, AKSI was honestly a big part of it was the title, right? President of a business fraternity, like the connections. AKSI on the East Coast is huge. Like connections wise would have worked, but that's very like superficial, right? It wasn't actually what I wanted. It wasn't like, yes, I'm doing it because I love. A part of it's loving the people, but a part of it wasn't as much as it would have been like for other groups or other experiences.
You're thinking, what would you get out of it versus it doesn't excite you?
And that's kind of a good distinction, right? Same concept of why you say yes or yes to things and why you do things. It's the same concept you do to know. Like, is it interesting? Is it exciting you? And if it is, seriously, that's when you probably are going down the rabbit hole of like, okay, do I actually have the time for it? Oh, that means I have to stop doing this, right? You kind of start going down that rabbit hole. But if immediately your answer is like, I don't like, I would be doing it just for the title. Yes, it'd be cool. Like that's probably a good distinction of why you should say no is mainly because like, right, you get the good offer. It's cool. The title, all that stuff. It's a new experience, right? That's often like I say yes to new experiences because like it's new, it's fun.
Yeah.
But you really have to do an evaluation of like, okay, like, is this something that I'm personally going to put time into? Am I personally going to like put my best foot forward? Because anything you're not going to learn from something if you're not putting your like full effort into it. Like, you could join all these clubs and only clock in an hour in each and you're not going to gain anything. The reason why AKSI was so good for me is because I was on exec, put in hours, learned a lot. Very easy, you can join that club, do 1 hour and just like tap out. And like, you're not going to get anything from that. So you have to really evaluate with this experience and the time constraint. Am I going to get, is it going to be interesting for me? Yes. Okay. Is it worth like losing this or maybe like having to pack my schedule a little more? Yes or no. That's kind of how you go down the like the yes, no framework, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. I think for that to work too, like you have to have brutal honesty, like self-honesty of like, why am I really doing this? What would I really get out of it? Would I actually put the time and effort in? Would I actually enjoy it? And like being okay with, at least to yourself, being like, I'm not doing this for the right reasons, or I can't actually see myself committing to this.
Yeah. And that's what you have to ask. Like, honestly, like peers are great for like real good mentors and peers of yours to like kind of clock you in and kind of reality check you. Like for me, for president, I talked to the current president and she gave me like a reality check of like, yeah, this is like this is a lot where nobody knows what's going on and like this is the true commitment. Obviously on paper it's like you do this and what I see of her, but then she run me through like everything that was going on and it's like, whoa, like that's reality check. And she went straight to my face like, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're capable of doing, if you want to do OCG president, you want to do Ace of Ducks president, if you want to do all these things, you're not going to also be able to do it. you cannot handle it. She told me to my face. And you need people like that in your life. Like my parents are like that. I have a couple of good peers like that. I would honestly think you would be someone like that to like just be blunt with me. Those are the types of like peers and mentors and things that are very valuable because they give you that insight of reality checking you. And sometimes like because you're so stressed, oh, I don't know what to say. Like you're so colluded and you won't probably give the best answer. Having someone like who's very much an outside perspective, you lay the law of the land, they'll give you a blunt reaction to it, whether you should do it or not. And obviously, don't just like, oh, you said this, I'm doing that. Like, okay, take that into account, reevaluate, maybe get another perspective. Like, don't just like rely on someone else's perspective, but it can be a very good help to have a strong mentor that you trust to at least somewhat guide you down that path.
Yeah. How do you navigate that whole area of feedback with your personal life? Because it's a very prominent part of OCG and a professional thing. And I think, you say that about me because we've had that professional relationship and we both understand and kind of have that core value of like it's coming from a place of love. But I think for a lot of people, especially you haven't had that, professional experience. Like if I hadn't been in OCG, right, and you had given me that kind of feedback, I would have taken it a little more personally, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you kind of start those conversations, or how do you think you start those conversations with people who haven't had those kind of professional experiences that don't realize like, hey, I'm saying this out of love, not out of attacking you?
I think it's hard because, like, realistically, I was about to answer, like, for me, the reason I've gotten to this point is because it's just like repetitive. It just happens so often where, like, I know what it is. I know what it feels like. For someone who's like never experienced feedback, I feel like the best way to navigate it would honestly just get reps. Start with your parents, right? Your parents are probably gonna be the most blunt with you and honestly the most soft with you, realistically. I like asked my mom. My mom's like was someone that I've always gone to for feedback. Even my dad. My dad was someone that was giving me a lot of feedback during like my professional like experience. When I wasn't getting that from us perspectives, and like they're gonna have a little bit softer tone with you just because like you're the kid, right? You're just like they're their parents. If you don't have that relationship with your parents, like you could be unfortunate to not. I would really strive to have that because having like that strong mentor that like family's always going to be there, right? Go to your siblings, go to other family friends that is maybe that kind of older figure. I think that's an easier way to receive feedback is someone who's older and experienced in it to give you feedback. I think if like you're beginning to start getting feedback and receiving it from people from like someone your own age, especially if they're very new to it, you can very quickly go down the path of like not good feedback and just kind of like shitting on your character, right? That's very something that can happen. And like it honestly happens in OCG, right? Like even for me, like I've only had about a year of professional experience giving feedback. Like very easily I could like, miss the mark and kind of do a personal cut.
Yep.
So getting reps in and getting people who like are older and experienced in it to start with you. And then honestly, like some of it is about just taking it on the chin. I think like a lot of people have this idea that like everything I'm doing is right and like it feels safe to do that, right? Just believe in yourself, go down that rabbit hole, just like, no, I'm doing everything right, it makes sense. It feels safe, it feels secure. When you don't feel secure is when you're like, hey, how can I improve? And you get about half an hour of just like, you're not ready, you're not capable of this, you don't do this, you don't do this. Like that is not a position you want to put yourself in. You just don't. It's not fun. It realistically isn't. Like I want to be president, so I've been talking to Mason a lot, and we had a conversation. He would like my midterm feedback. He's like, you're just not there yet, and it was a very hard conversation for me. But like because I've had experience in the past, because I know that it's coming for a place of like he wants me to see me there, and I really sat and thought about it. I took action on all of his feedback. And I hope I'm doing well with it. I think I am, but initially it's not a good vibe. It's just not fun initially. So I think really taking into account, taking it on the chin and just getting reps. And like, obviously, just like boxers, the more like reps you get, the more hits you take on the chin, the stronger your chin gets. So just getting some reps.
Yeah. To build off what you were saying about feedback, right? And this is something that I'm trying to take into my personal life that I haven't quite figured out yet. But if you're trying to get feedback, be very specific about like when you want feedback. Like, for example, like if I have, a bad outfit on, right? Tell me before we leave. Like I want honest feedback about my outfit before we leave when I still have time to change it. I don't want honest feedback about my outfit when we're already out and at dinner.
Yeah.
Right. Because then I'm just going to feel self-conscious the whole night that my outfit's bad. Right. Or like I want honest feedback if you're an OCG, right? The consulting group, OCG is Oregon Consulting Group. It's like, I want honest feedback, after the meeting or, at the midterm, like halfway through the term. I don't want honest feedback as we're giving our final presentation about
You're
how
about-
bad my public speaking
You're about
is.
to go up there. Hey, you screwed up that section, right? Like you screwed up that section. Like figure it out, and then go.
And then
you're up. It's not useful. Yeah.
Timing is really, really important. So that's like actually helpful feedback, not just like putting me down or like making me self-conscious. Because at least feedback for me, I mean, I agree, it kind of sucks at first, but once you get used to it and you kind of develop the mentality of like, oh, like this is making me better.
Yeah.
It does help. Because I had the same thing with the book where I was like, this is the shit.
Yeah.
And I said to the editor, and I got back like as much red ink as one could possibly imagine, like 3 pens worth of red ink. And you're like, damn, like I thought I was good. Like it sucks to hear. And she was like, this doesn't make sense, right? This is like, what are you talking about here? And you're like, really have to like sit and think. And like you said with Mason, like it sucks.
Yeah. And
But
I think
it gets better.
I will say, like, I think the first time you get harsh feedback like that, and then you actually make the change, and then that person notices that change, that I think once you get that feeling, like you're like, okay, that's like kind of the switching point is like once you've gotten hard feedback, if you really do put your head down and like take the feedback to heart and like go and fix it, and then they don't have to recognize that difference, but like if you even recognize the difference in yourself because of the feedback, you now got the result. I understand the reason behind it now, and so that's like I know it's like my first time getting harsh feedback was like for PL when I didn't get it for like, or PL is like a role for OCG. It's a promotion to like
Leadership role.
Leadership roles. Then it's like you start leading a team on versus like being on a team. First time I applied for it, didn't get it. The feedback I got was like pretty harsh. It was like, you don't interact with your team. You just kind of care about your own action items. You're kind of like focusing. I was like, it's kind of BS. Like, I feel like you guys kind of promote like wanting to like really work hard. And so then I was like, you know what? I took it as like, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna go in and do like my best. And I took the feedback. Second term did it, really worked hard, really focused on specific that feedback. I got the promotion the next term. So like that feeling was like, God, that was like, okay, I did it. I saw the change. I've improved as a person. I'm happy with not even like the superficial, like I got the job or whatever, like reasoning behind it, but like on a personal level, I felt like a better human. I felt like a better person. And that feeling of like, okay, I have a change in my life, that you kind of like chase that with feedback now. It's kind of like, okay, that's why I ask for a lot of time now, because like I want to chase that feeling of like I'm actually growing. It's a great feeling overall.
Yeah, feedback really is all about like bouncing forward, like falling forward, right? Like that's ultimately what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't grow if you don't have feedback, at least not quickly.
Yeah.
So you've taken on a lot of leadership roles and want to take on even more.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for someone who's, about to take on their first leadership role?
You've
been my leader before. Ben was my project lead in the consulting group.
I
hated him. He was terrible.
Admittedly it was my first time ever doing it. It was not the best, but I think
you were fun.
We had a good team culture. I think like it was stressful, but we had a good team culture. And
it was generally my favorite, because I was on 3.
Yeah.
My favorite team culture for sure.
Yeah. And I think that's what I focused on. That's just who I was a leader. And that kind of alludes to my point of like, figure out who you are as leader, right? Right as you're about to step in. There's a lot of different styles. I think like, and they all work in different ways. I think my style very much worked in the fact that like the team really liked each other. Like we all were good friends. We all like wanted to show up. Yes, it was Friday 8 a.m. So maybe everyone wasn't the happiest coming to that meeting, but I think by like 8:30, it was like, okay, we're back. We're at this. I'm actually enjoying to be here. We'd run till time. We'd like love. And then even the car ride was proof of like just genuinely enjoying each other. Like that is what I focused on, because I knew my leadership style adhered to that. Now, the minuses of that you realize are like, okay, maybe it's harder to have those hard conversations with those people. It's harder to like be the manager at the end of the day. And you then take that feedback and you take it to your next project and figure out, okay, I'm going to still try and build this culture, but now I know this is the best. To be honest, your first term or whatever, like section or quantifiable like time of doing your leadership role you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it well, truthfully. Like every leadership role I've done, my first has been like 1 term, and then like the next term is like a new kind of, it's like a term by term. It could be a week for you. It could be a whole year. Your first kind of like go at it, you're not going to do well, to be completely frank. Like you've never done it before. You just don't know what you're stepping into. You just don't know. But like I always say, I wish I got a second term of PM. I wish I got a second term of this or a second opportunity of that, because I know that once I've done it once, I can elevate on it. I now know what I'm like in that position. I know my leadership abilities. I'm going to elevate on it. I knew that so for the person who's not the first time ever stepping into the role, like understand that you're not going to like kill it, but go in and reflect, okay, what am I like, know something you are going to kill at, right? I know you obviously got the leadership role for a reason, right? And that's probably whether you're very good with people, you are very analytical and you understand how things work. You're some reason you're in that role, right? I hope, right? like play to that strength, go into that role and very much like, okay, I know I'm going to kill this. I might not know every little piece of the lyric I'm going to learn for like the however long, but I know like when I step into that room, I know how to do this and I'm in this role for this reason. So like cater to your strengths and then be open and honest to learning throughout the entire process. So you can continually elevate your leadership skills. That's kind of what I would say.
One of the parts about OCG is it's hard to get into. And there's a lot of applicants. I'm assuming you've looked at hundreds of applicants at this point.
Yeah, we did. We had, dude, for the winter cycle, we had 64. We just posted on LinkedIn and like we had 64. We had like, I've looked at over like 200 easily.
What separates a great applicant from a good applicant?
Strictly material wise or overall?
Overall.
Okay, so for overall, I would say like if I know them very immediately, like I have a better understanding of you. Better applicants are ones that are well known by the people grading them. Like if I can feel like you put time into the application, like I've seen hundreds of resumes. I work at a place where I review resumes. I work at a place that I do interview prep. I can tell when someone's being superficial or not. Like it's very clear. I can tell if you chatted it. I can tell if it's AI. Like I've got an eye for it now. And most places where you're applying to have an eye for that, whatever you're applying to. So have like real stories in your resume. I know it's hard to do, but a lot of the time, like showcase the skill you specifically use, showcase the specific context, like really bring them into like when I read their resume, I can like, if you can get that person to like visualize who you are without seeing your face, that's your goal. You want to take to a point where like, okay, I envision them catering and waitering at most common like waitering at that job, or I can see them being an athletic ambassador. I can envision what they're doing. If it's just like a bunch of jargon and I have no idea what it is, I'm not going to know what they're talking about. And then honestly, like I think supplementaries is the most underrated like application material possible, whether that's cover letter or specific summary questions, because that is where your personality shines, right? The resume is a skill check, right? It's just a quick, okay, if I'm hiring you for a project manager role, do you have project managing experience? No. Have you done things that are aspects of that? Maybe so. Okay, you got the skills. Boom, skill check. Now, like if I put you in that chair, there's what's called like the airport check. If we had a layover for 6 hours and I had to spend that with you, am I going to want to spend that 6 hour time with you? Right? It's kind of like a gut check that some companies use. And I like to conceptualize is like, I believe I'm not annoying to spend 6 hours with, right? And a part of that is like in the business world, you're working with people you have to enjoy being around. So with your cover letter and your supplementary, showcase that personality that you would hope is someone that whoever's reviewing or the company, hopefully the company you're applying for aligns with your values and your interests and all that kind of stuff, so that your kind of vibe aligns with like the type of people you're gonna be interacting with. So making sure that your supplementary and cover letter showcase that personality, so they would like want to spend that 6 hours with you at the bar, right? You have to kind of think of that. That is what I feel like steps above is when I can like, another word like times I like to use is like make them say no, right? Have them like, oh, I don't want to tell this guy no. I feel like I would feel bad being like, oh, I just can't I just can't give you the role, but let me give you this, right? Make them like want to say no. And I think that really shines through your supplementary because it feels like I have a personal attachment to you. Yeah. Is the end goal.
Have you sat in interviews?
Yeah, I've interviewed. So I've sat in, I think I've done like 70 at this point for OCG. I did them for AKSI as well. I've done them for more. I've done a good amount of different levels of interviews, right? OCG, which is a pretty case behavioral, pretty intense, to like more, which is a little more laid back. But yeah, I've sat and done a good amount of interviews.
Can you tell me about one person who you think had a great interview and one person you think had a terrible interview?
I'm not gonna air their name out.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, anonymously.
A great interview I had. Again, it came down to like I did the case room for this last cycle. I was administering the case for those who don't know, casing is like a very common practice in consulting. It's basically like you get a business problem and you slowly work through the business problem. There's a certain format to it.
It's like a riddle.
It's a riddle, right? At the end of the day, it's a business problem you have to solve, right? I was administering the case, and like when I could see applicants that are like a great applicant one, I just like was genuinely excited to just be there. Like knew my name, knew who I was like when I gave them questions like, wow, that's super interesting. Like I'm actually I'm like gave me a little personality, especially like I've done 40 interviews of people of people who have like messed up the math, who are dead silent, who aren't engaging. It's just like, ugh, like please talk to
entertain me.
Like please talk to me.
Yeah.
There was one case like they made it like like I was just watching them purely enjoy solving this puzzle and just engage with it and like ask me questions, get me talking, get me awake. And then like in every interview, there's always like, do you have any questions for us? Like really connect with them, right? Some interviewer, I had one, they knew like, they knew that I was going to EY this summer and they knew all this stuff about me. And I was like, damn, okay, like cool. I was a little like intimidated, which is like, like they ended up getting in. So it was like, they had a like they obviously set an impression. Another one was like really creative answers. Someone we asked like tell me about like teach me a skill in like 30 seconds that you're really experienced in. Someone taught me like how to salmon fish, which is like in a professional interview, you're like, that's kind of like weird you did that. But like I remembered, like I know exactly who that person is, and they also ended up getting in, right? I remember the guy who taught me salmon fishing, not the guy who taught me like how to give a speech or like how to like do something that like I wasn't really engaged with, like something unique, something that like identifies you when it comes to a week, the later that night where I have to deliberate and figure out whether you should get the job or not.
Yeah.
I need someone to remember you by. So a great interview leaves a like residual kind of like feeling and a reason. Again, same with the application. Give me a reason, like make me have to tell you no. Like I don't want to have to tell you no.
Yeah.
Versus a bad applicant, just like no personality, not engaging, like toning like this and like kind of like quiet, not making eye contact, all those little things.
Yeah.
Where it feels like you don't want to be there, where it feels like I'm forcing you in that chair, where it feels like every time I ask you a question, it's just like dragging it. If I'm not enjoying interviewing you, that's when I'm going to see a terrible applicant.
I think the key thing you're saying there too is feeling. How are they making you feel? Right.
Yeah.
Do you feel excited to be around this person? Do you feel important when you're around this person? Do you feel boring and tired when you're around this person? Like feeling is really, really important.
Yeah.
When someone reaches out to you, because you were saying, if you know the applicant, it's much easier to grade them, right? Because you have understanding of who they are outside of the paper that you're reading.
Yeah.
What's a good message look like that you get? I'm not saying you get a lot. I don't know how many you get, right?
Yeah.
But let's say someone were to
you'd be surprised.
let's say someone were to send you the perfect networking message to Ben because they wanted to learn more about you and they wanted you to know who they were, right? Because they were applying to a company an organization that you're a part of, right?
Yeah.
What's a good message look like?
I think just like, hello, Ben. I'm personally on the side of like get to the point. I know why you're reaching out to me. Honestly, and that's different per like as you grow up, right? Like if you're talking to a recruiter and they know their job, they know their role, they know why you're reaching out.
Yep.
But like you obviously, again, knowing your audience. But for specifically me, I more often get reached out right around OCG application time. I know you're talking to me because you want to show face. I know the reason. If you can make it not feel like that, that's the great response. And I'll kind of go over both the message and the actual interview, and I'll talk about one specific person. So this person reached out to me. They showed just genuine curiosity in what I was doing. It wasn't like, let's have a coffee, let's talk about OCG. They actually wanted to talk about just like they wanted to talk about my opinion on like clubs because they knew that I was heavily involved. They're like, I haven't gotten involved at all. And I'm the same age as you. I would love some guidance on this. It was like an intriguing question for me. I was like, oh, I'd love to answer this question. Like I want to be there. So it's just, hey, name. They didn't even tell me like their status because I know more often than I used to, like I'm a junior or this, like that's kind of best practice. But in this scenario, it's another student. I don't care about your status. If it's another student, like you're a student. I don't really need to know like I'm an incoming in. Like no, like you might do that for like more professional saying, but for this context, it worked for me, and they knew that of like I don't have to status check this person. I just genuinely want to talk to them. So they said, hey Ben, they did say I'm currently a junior, but they did it in a way where it was like, I'm currently a junior and I'm really, when I'm looking through your profile, I know you're heavily involved, or like they were in one of my classes. So they said, I'm in one of your classes. And I noticed you're like heavily involved. This is something I've been trying to do throughout my college career and I haven't really figured out yet. I'd love to chat and, maybe get some guidance from you. They gave me an action. They gave me something that like they actually wanted. They didn't want like, let's just chat and like see what happens. Like they gave me like, this is what I want to meet for. This is an action that I want from you. Let me know if you're open to it. If you're doing it on LinkedIn, it's hard to give availabilities. If you're doing an email, like give me your availability. Like as you've been over, I have like long days. Like I need to I'm going to go on the second I see the availability, I'm going to go on my calendar and cross-reference and find a booking time. Like if I have to like probe you to get a time, after like 2-3 messages, I'm not going to want to figure it out. Like there was one guy, like I was just probing and like it just never worked out. I never met with him. Like it just happens. And I know it sounds kind of like egoist, but like realistically, like I have a lot. I will value the time. If you give me exactly this time, your availability, and I book into my schedule, it's 1 to 2 messages, and that's
Yeah.
easy on my end. It makes me more intrigued to meet with you. For specifically, if you want to know like of the interaction, like they did not ask one thing about OCG, and I knew they were asking about OCG. They're currently in the group, and like they did not. They asked.
They weren't in the group then, though.
They were applying. They were coming into that cycle. They were meeting with all of. They met with all of ELT, and the resounding answer from all of us was like, "Yeah, they didn't ask anything about OCG. Like, they didn't ask anything. Like something Gabe says often, who's one of my friends. Like, he's always like, "Don't ask me things you can Google. Like, if you can Google our past clients, if you can Google our model, like don't ask me that. Don't get me in a chair.
You can Google what a case is.
If you like, don't ask me like the basics of the group. Like ask me like my personal experience. Ask me like my personal take. Right? Ask things that you're not going to just like can type into Google and figure out. Right? That's what this guy did, and he was very like. We ended up just talking about like my opinion of the business school, which is definitely a very very rash one, but. Yeah, I was like super engaged and it was very memorable. I wanted to keep talking to him because he just was genuinely engaged in my conversation and wanted to get to know me and what I was passionate about. Not just like, what does a good applicant for OCG look like? Like, no, like you can find that online. Like we provide you all the resources. Like, please use that. So that I feel like it was a good networking experience. He gave me a clear action in the message, was very clear cut about why he wanted to meet with me, and it didn't feel superficial. He did have some connection to me, right? He was in one of my classes, so I felt somewhat inclined, but also one with being inclined, there was a set action and reason behind it. It wasn't some like up in the clouds like reason. And then in the actual meeting, he didn't just like hammer anything that you could just Google. It was, let me like utilize this time usefully and get things I can't just find online and genuinely engage with this person so that they remember me as a person when it comes to the interview. I know it sounds very subjective, like interview styles, right? At the end of the day, like people try to be as objective as possible when it comes to roles and interviews, but at the end of the day, business is a subjective thing. Like you have to like, part of it is just subjective, right? You just have to like understand and like the person to be able to interact with them, whether that's introverted or extroverted. Like it's just part of the business at the end of the day. And so, yes, it sounds kind of like subjective of like why you like a person. It can be catered to each individual person, but like, it is what it is. It is just the truth of the world at the end of the day. So being knowledgeable of that and being in the using that to your advantage is, I think, very important.
Yeah. And listening to what you're saying, like tying all of that together is like, you want someone who's a real person, right? Like when they're interviewing, you want someone who's like excited about what they're doing and engaged. Like when they're messaging you, you want them to give you like a real reason. Like, hey, I want to join clubs. I just want to like, I don't want to just ask you basic Google prompts, right?
Yeah.
And I want to talk to you because we have this connection outside of class, like in this class, and I want to like build off of that. And it's like, you're a real human being. Like we're actually going to connect. Like it's actually
like
be a good
we're
time.
dudes. Like we're just like a couple, we're just like good friends. And I feel like, now that might be different because we're like for OCG, usually applicants are looking like is like other students that we'd like to interact with and work in teams. So like we know that we need to hire people that can work well in teams. Other roles like investment banking, kind of those like more soloed off, siloed roles, your personality isn't going to be as important. They are going to take a very objective look at like how you did in the technical, right? That's why IB training for like interviews is very like intense because you just have to know what you're doing. But a lot of like depending, understand your space. Right. That kind of teeters the line of like how much of it is subjective, how much is objective. Like finance, quant, a lot of coding, all those are very like, that's why it's almost like are all technicals. Bain is 4 cases. They don't even do a behavioral. It's just 4 cases, go after it because they're, yes, working in teams, but they need you to have a brain. However, OCG, we're not Bain, right? So like OCG is very much carrying your character and that goes into account when it comes to applying. So that's another thing, being knowledgeable of like why you're networking and who you're talking to. Specific to jobs, like you just have to understand that depending on the job you're applying for, depends on like what part you should showcase, right? IB, quant, coding, show that you're about it, show your skills. Like more social, more like even more artistic, right? Don't have like a plain black and white resume. Have like a little bit of like an artistic feel to it. Don't go crazy with colors, but like show a little like quality with it because if they want you to make marketing materials and you have a black and white resume, it doesn't correlate. So a lot of what this interviewing, resume, networking all kind of collides into is show you a real person, understand that as a real person, you should be applying that to the right company and at the end of the day.
So you mentioned you're part of a lot of clubs and you mentioned that you have a rash take on the business school. Is it better to be a part of a ton of clubs and have a 3.5 or be a part of no clubs and have a 4.1?
I mean, it's kind of clear what my take is. It depends on your context, right? Obviously, I'm not going to tell someone who wants to go to grad school, who wants to do academia, who wants to go and do like pre-medical, all that, like whatever, like go with academia, right? Don't listen to me, right? Like go study how to like surgically like cut someone up. Like you go to class.
I want my surgeon in class.
I want my surgeon in class.
Yeah.
I don't want a chat GPT like guy
You've
cutting
seen
me
all
open.
those memes. It's like you see your
They
best.
get the AirPod in, like
yeah, you see your best bud doing surgery. You're like, no,
please.
no, please.
Like, yeah. So like if you're doing anything that route, like academia based, where you have to do a post-grad education, like go to class. However, I think business is very unique in that like a lot of it, like people, it's kind of corny, but like business is not what you know, it's who you know. Like part of that's true, and that kind of correlates to why I believe like for business clubs and like a 3.5 or 3, like there's a saying that like the 3.7 kid is like the perfect hire. I have like a 3.6 right now. I don't have a 3.7 to be completely blunt, but like I have a 3.6, but like I would consider a pretty prestigious internship this summer. I have a lot of experiences. I've set myself up very
business honors.
Like I've set not even like it's again like just a culmination of everything. Like I'm about it, but I don't have like a 4.1 because that's not what has mattered in my contact. Like in other context, if you have like a 4.0 GPA in like comp sci, holy, hire that kid, right? Because he knows what he's doing. He's got the technical skills, right? But for like the business world, if I have a 4.0, but like because I have a 4.0, I've spent hours in this library, like not doing anything, like you're not gonna have the skills to then get put on a team and interact with them. You'll notice that people with 3.7 GPAs who were president of blank club and did this experience and educate people in this area are gonna step into the business world a lot more acclimated to the space. It's just truly what it is, right? Real world experience. Like that's what OCG provides, right? I'm working with real clients. I'm working in like those contexts, right? More career services. I look at resumes and everything on a daily basis. Like I know what they're looking for. I'm trained on it. So like those experiences are allowing me to elevate myself above the 4.1s, the 4.2s. Yes, are the 4.1s, 4.2s going to even like have a better chance of getting the interview? Maybe, right? They might have a GPA requirement. Unfortunately, right? I know big three consulting and like a lot of the investment banking, you need like a 3.8, 3.9, and like that is a hard thing to realize. However, like if we take the tips we talked about earlier, like really network, really have a good relationship, people are people, right? They're gonna be lenient. They're gonna be like, like again, I can't believe to tell him no just because of his GPA. They're gonna be willing. Hopefully, they're willing to talk to you, at least give you a chance, and that's where you go and kill it and prove why having the 3.5, but with all this experience, is better than hiring the kid who's been in class for about 4 years and has done like nothing besides that.
Yeah, and you have to think about the long game too. Of like, if you have a 4.1 and I have a 3.6, right? You might have a better shot at getting the job right out of college, but I'm going to succeed in my job quicker, right? When I get to the job, I'm going to have a better understanding of how do you work in a team? What does a professional email look like, right? How do I actually network within this to get a job? Like, how do I actually transition my career to move up and move to different companies and like move up in the world, right? So it's like, you might get the, investment banking gig quicker than I do, but I'm going to get to private equity faster than you do.
Yeah.
Right. And for anyone listening, like private equity is like usually the end goal for a lot of people in investment banking, right? Like it's like the stepping stool, right? It's like, so, but if you think about the long game, you have to develop all of those skills, not just that. And I argue with my mom all the time about it.
What I will say, like, don't go below a 3.6 or 3.5. Like, that's when you're toying with like even having any chance. Like, still be academically strong. Like, be a strong A/B student. Like, I'm
strong enough.
Like strong enough, right? Like, don't just like, because at the end of the day, business, there is some learning to be done in business. I'm taking like a business cross-cultural communications class, management class. Like there's things you have to learn at the end of the day, like certain techniques, skills, those things in business. But you don't need to do it at a rate where you're sacrificing the like actual life experiences. Like, for example, like Jared, you know Jared, right? Like I think he had a 4.3 up until last term, where he got an A- in BA 308 in honors, which for context, BA 308 getting an A in that class is like unfathomably hard. Like they purposely give you a B in that class to humble you. That is the entire concept of the class, is humbling you, because it's the first upper division class you take as a business administration major. It's literally designed. The first assignment, they give you an F. Like it's designed for you to fail. So the fact that Jared got an A- is because he knew the teacher very well and like networked, right? But I noticed in Jared, like it clicked, like damn, like me having a 4.2, 4.1 is not what's going to get me there. It's my project lead role, my working with the vice president of finance for the university role, right? That is what's like cool. Like if you look at a resume on mine, my education is probably like maybe an inch. And let's say it's like a 12-inch resume, like maybe the top bit, yeah, education, right? It's got what my major is, some awards like a scholarship, dean's list. The other 11 inches, the full resume is all my experiences, all the stuff that like the company cares about. You'll see that in almost every professional resume, almost every IB template, almost every business role resume template will have the education be so small that the GPA is a single line while your experience is everything else. If you can't fill that page, they're not going to hire you, whether you have the 4.3 or not. So,
Does it matter what club I join? Can I join like the Pokemon club, or do I need to join a business club?
I think like it depends. I mean, I'm vice president of a poker club, right? But like that, being a member of that, if I'm engaged in a committee within that, if I'm engaging on a daily basis in that group, that is something I can write professionally. The big thing that we struggle at more is like people don't think certain things are experiences, right? Like a lot of people in culture clubs seem to like think it's not a real experience, or people who are in clubs where they only meet once a week, they don't really believe it's a real experience. But like at the end of the day, especially if you take up some kind of leadership role, like often with frats, right? When you're just a general member, yeah, it's a little harder to prove why, like if you're just in the house, like it's hard to make that considered. But like for someone who actually cares about like what they're doing on their resume and like wants to build that experience out, when they join a club, like talk to the exec team, figure out a task you can do, figure out like if it's not a role or a committee, find a project that they're curious about doing. So if you like for the concept of Pokemon Club, maybe they want to expand into doing like they want to expand and do a trip to the next Pokemon Expo. Take some initiative and like pick up the like building of that plan. Yes, it was Pokemon Club, but you were the site visit planner or something like that. You had some kind of title, right? You have some kind of initiative. So whether you're doing it for Pokemon, like for me, poker, like yeah, VP Poker Club, like okay, what does this kid do for VP of Poker Club? But on my resume, if I would have it on there, I would explain to you that takes me going to Senate almost every week and pitching to get funding for the group. That takes me like we're strategically planning out educational modules for the entire group. Like there's tangible things with that, even though it's VP of Poker Club. Yes. Like it doesn't matter the context. It matters like the actual initiative and the things you're doing and how you vocalize that to your interviewer.
Yeah. And it's personal too. It's not just professional. Like when I'm meeting somebody new, like a big part of how I kind of understand like who they are and like whether or not I'm vibing with them is like, all right, what do you do outside of school? Like, I really don't care about your major. Like everybody asks that. Great. Like what else do you do? It's like, are you in any club sports? Are you in any clubs? Like, are you outside hiking all the time? Right. Like, I don't know what it is. Right. But like, if you can't give me like 3 things that you're doing outside of class, like me as someone who likes to do a lot of things, like that kind of signals to me like, okay, you don't do that many things.
Yeah.
Which is like, personally and professionally important.
It's hard. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you do, right? If you do like, if you're just one thing and you kill it at that one thing, great. That's awesome. Like you don't have to like Nick and I are examples of like we pack our schedule. That's because we want to. And like you know, there's some initiative or some kind of reasoning behind why we do a bunch of things, but there's just as much validity to the characters who are just like, yeah, I've been president of this one club for 4 years. And that's my thing. I built this club. I've like built it from the ground up. And now it's
Elliot.
Right, like that's like right. His thing was just OCG. That's all he did. That's not like a bad candidate. Like I'm not any better than Elliot. Like Elliot's at Deloitte now killing it. SAC, right? 6 figures job, like everything you'd ever want. Well, for most, like people might want different things, but that's a very lucrative career path. He just did OCG for 4 years. That's all he did. He would play intramurals, but that was it. He just class and OCG. Now, but he was at least doing something outside of class. He was developing a multitude of roles within that group. He obviously was doing like study abroads and little things just to like, so it wasn't just a page on OCG when it came to his resume. Yeah. But like for people who like maybe aren't wanting to do like 20 different things, like just be good at like a good 2 to 3, like be just like experts at it. Right. Like I think there's a lot of value in someone that like can go into an interview room and then they ask like, okay, can you do this? Yeah, hell yeah, I can do that. And here's why. Like, I know how to do this job. And sometimes you find jobs like that where you're like, I'm literally the best candidate for this. Yeah. It's like the Marios versus like the very like, I don't know what a character in the Mario games are that's like very good at one specific thing. Mm-hmm. And you know, like they have like the rankings.
Bowser, Yoshi.
Right? Like all the characters have like Bowser's like super strong but slow as shit, right? But like you need that guy to hit a baseball, he's going to hit a baseball.
That's a great point.
Right?
That's a great point.
Like he's going to smash that. You play bases loaded from the Marios,
Donkey Kong,
right? They're going to be slow, but you need a home run.
You need a 4-hitter.
You got a Bowser, right? Yeah. So just because you're only doing one thing doesn't mean that's you're any worse than someone doing 7 things. You're just
Yeah.
really good at that one thing.
Yeah, I think that you're right. I take back what I said. I think the key there is applying yourself.
Yeah.
Like someone who's really, really interested in something and can tell you about it for hours, like you were saying, fly fishing or salmon fishing
Yeah.
in the interview, like that's intriguing. Like when other people are excited about things, we get excited about things.
Yeah, it's just
So
natural
you're definitely
humans.
right of like, do 1 or 2 things that you love opposed to 7 surface level things.
Yeah.
And
But you could do 7 and just commit all of them and be good at it. Like
as long as you like it, as long as you're playing
both
yourself.
paths are good at the end of the day. I think as long as you're doing one of those, as long as you're not just sitting on your ass and playing Bowser games, like do something, show some kind of initiative, be interested, honestly just be interesting, be like a human, go explore, go do like
Just do something
outside of like your couch.
When I do the networking presentations across campus, one of the common jokes that I make is it's so many people send networking emails and they say, yeah, I'm free whenever. Pardon me.
Yeah.
They say, I'm free whenever. Like, let me know when you can talk, right? And I tell people all the time, if anyone sends me a message and you say you're free whenever, I will never fucking respond to you. Because why are you free whenever, right? You should be doing things. You should be applying yourself. You should be like having fun experiences and having professional experiences, right?
Yeah.
And that's the key thing of like, we want to know that you're a cool person. And that doesn't, not the stereotypical jock way, the stereotypical way of like, not that way of, but we want to see like, hey, you're applying yourself and you're having fun and you're living life.
You could be, it's like, there was one girl who applied who's like very, very smart and was like, a quintessential nerd, right? But she was doing research on like the impact of like when your runner's running, when their foot first hits the ground versus when it leaves the ground, and like measuring the impact of the force, so you could build like a specific insole.
Yep.
I have no idea what the fuck like that even means.
Yep.
But I was just intrigued that she was doing that and researching, and like she walked us through like the logic and how people run, and like, yes, that sounds boring, and it probably is boring to most, but for her, it was, you could just tell it was like her pure passion. That's what matters. Like we very much like pushed on this point of like doing all these things, professional tones, doing something. That something could be something you just genuinely enjoy, and like everyone should have something they genuinely enjoy. I think like that's naturally what humans are like. There's no way you can sit and tell yourself I don't enjoy anything. Like there's no human on planet Earth like that.
Yep.
If it's food, right? Find an angle to do food. Be a really good chef. Like go into that passion. Like just do something with it. Doesn't matter what it is, how it is, whether it's considered professional or prefer like kind of like, or people think it's lame. Like if you can like showcase to me, no matter how lame it is, if you can tell me how like amazing and fun it is, that is what's going to resonate with me, because I'm a human as well. And I feel that same type of passion towards what I believe in. And I can relate to you because we have this shared passion of something interesting.
Yeah, and you get my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Perfect segue. What excites you nowadays? Outside of work?
Yeah. I love DJing, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you figure out your DJ name yet?
Benji. The I's an exclamation point.
DJ Benji.
DJ or Benj, maybe Benji, but I hope it's Benji.
DJ Benji.
I feel like
I like
DJ Benji, but like a little exclamation point, so it's a little flair.
Yeah.
I had so much fun with it. It's again one of those things that like I always listen. Like I have my headphones on almost 24/7. Always listen to like very much EDM. It's kind of my genre, but like it excites me much because of like how much variability it has. I love new things. I love like doing something new and solving the problem within it, even within its DJing. Like for me, like I love solving the problem. Okay, like here's my set list. Here, this song goes into here. Okay, I love this song, and there's a particular sounding in here that I think would overlaying this would sound amazing. Or okay, I know the crowd I'm about to go into. I know it's going to be a house party. It's going to be straight white girl music, but how can I have fun with that, right? Yes, I can easily just click Spotify mix and just have it play all the good songs, but how can I like make the experience a little more oomph? I can add variation on sound effects. I can have this vocal go behind. I can have the vocal of like a Pitbull song go over the background of like a rap song, kind of, oh my God, this is new. This is engaging. There's all those little things that like, it just genuinely like honestly tonight, I'll probably go home and then just get on the DJ board and just like, I have like a giant discography and I kind of just like mix and go around and just feel like what I enjoy doing. And I just like blast my speaker, go for an hour and then top off. Like there's no like, I like it because it's so like, you can just go, you just do it. You turn your mind off. You just listen to music. Oh, I know this part chorus, boom, let's tap it in. It's just a lot of fun, especially once you know the basics.
Outside of DJing, what's something most people don't know about you?
Honestly, if it paid well enough, I would just be a chef. I like this business stuff is cool and like I'm really interested in it and I have a lot of fun with it, but like my true passion is cooking. Like I wish I could just get paid 6 figures to go like chef it up every week, because realistically the career path for that is I go to chef school for like 4 to 9 years, get yelled at by a French dude.
Yeah.
Go to France, cook, be like the bitch in the kitchen for another 4 years, get barely any money, live with 7 dudes. And then once I'm maybe 50, I can have my own restaurant and be like a gray head super, because it's a very stressful career.
Yeah.
But like then I could maybe have my own restaurant if I'm lucky, if I'm like the top ever chef. No, I want to provide for a family. I want a very financially sound career. And I do feel like I'm good at business and enjoy what I do. So I'm going down that career path.
You want to keep your hair?
Well, actually, I've had gray hairs already. Someone found a gray hair in my head the other day, which is a very bad sign.
Really?
But
My dad had gray hair in college.
Dang.
Or in high school, maybe, actually.
Wow, that's like really early. But my family's like all full heads of hair, so I'm not really stressed about that. I think more so like I said earlier, like I wouldn't want to build a business. I think I want to build that, be financially sound, let it run on its own. And then honestly, the dream is like once I'm 50, like have my like a pimp ass house and like, but like within that have like a kitchen where like on like 2 days a week from like 6 to 10, and each I do like 4 families for 4 1-hour sections. And I meet with you during the week. I interview you. I learn who you are, what you like, what your past is, and then like I make you like a multi-course meal that like if your mom made this classic pesto pasta dish, I would then do my own spin on it, but still capture the essence of your mom cooking it for you.
Yeah.
And like cater that. Like that is so thrilling for me. Like cooking and bringing there's like that pure joy to them. That'd be awesome. If I can get bread for that and live financially sound, that'd be awesome. But reality is like that's very hard to do. Obviously follow your passions, but like for me, I have passions of like wanting to live in a city and then wanting to enjoy that life and be financially sound. Like
Yep.
I do have passions that do need some financial substantial behind them.
Yep.
But would it also be awesome to just like do that kind of career path of like catered meals and cook for them? Like fuck the bread. Like if I like you, like come, I'll cook you a meal. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that experience amazing for you and really cater for you. That would bring me a lot of joy. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people know because all I do is business. All I have is this packed schedule. But reality, like I'd love to just sit in my kitchen 24/7 and just go.
Yeah. Dude, I hope to have one of those meals one day.
It will one day. You'll get a cold outreach on LinkedIn. I'll find you somehow.
Find me somehow.
Somewhere, somehow.
LinkedIn, connect us forever, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, it's bad. I have more hours on LinkedIn than Instagram.
That's a little insane.
Yeah.
I'm probably in the same boat, which is also bad.
It's like 45 minutes of reels and then like an hour of LinkedIn.
I'm on my laptop a lot during school, and like whenever I'm in school, I like make sure I'm not on my phone doing like doom scrolling.
Yeah.
And so my doom scrolling is LinkedIn. I feel like it's like a cop out answer, but like I'm doing some work on it. Like I'm scrolling, but I'm doing like outreach and stuff for OCG. But
better than reels and TikTok.
Yeah, doom scrolling like my 10 things I learned about B2B sales from getting married. I feel like that's a little bit better than like some of the content I'm getting on.
And your LeBron memes.
Than my LeBron memes. I feel like you might learn a thing or two.
Yeah. So I've heard what excites you and what most people don't know about you. What's a recent hardship that you've gone through? And how'd you get through that?
I went through a pretty bad breakup, to be completely frank. It was a long distance, about 3 years I was dating her. And it was during spring term when I was project managing for Nick. I was in hell, to be frank. To give context, breakup with a long-term girlfriend, starting onboarding for more career services, joining biz honors, starting my first time term doing exec for AK Sci, first time doing project manager for OCG. I was doing upper division classes for the first time. My spring allergies were at an all-time high. I usually go home once a term, and I didn't go home at all. It was literally, I was in hell. I was in the worst position ever. I was not happy. I didn't, like I said, all the things I do now, like I enjoy. I was doing those same things then. I did not enjoy any of them. I did not want to do any of them. And the biggest kind of like the last punch was that breakup, because she was a lot of what inspired me to really push myself to get to where I'm at now. Because she did the CC to Berkeley route. So I was like, damn, I gotta step my game up. Right. And she was a lot of my inspiration of like why I'm working so hard, was because she, you can't not work hard with someone like that in your life. And things just, it wasn't any bad blood. It was just like we were distant. It didn't work out, whatever. It's not really the point. It was really hard to find myself again here. I had built 2 years of my career, especially all freshman year. I didn't go out. I had my current roommate, Koa, and then I had my girlfriend back home. that was my life freshman year. There was a girl that I worked with. Like I said, I was doing flight school. I was also doing flight school onboarding. Whatever, not the point. Flight school. This girl I was working with, I did onboard training like my freshman year, and it was like week 9 of spring term. And I walked out my door, and she was across the hallway. So she was living across from me all freshman year, but had no idea. That's how little I like interacted with other people. I was literally across the door from her, and she had no idea. So I had to like refine myself. I didn't know a life without a phone call at the end of the day every single night. I didn't know a life without someone like pushing me to like continuously grow. I was on my own now, realistically. Yes, I always had support, but like that type of support is very different. And still healing to this day. I think I'm at a point where I'm very confident and happy with myself. Like I'm getting back out there, obviously this is a professional podcast, but like, I'm getting back out there. I'm like getting myself out there, not just like hollowing away at it, but it really taught me, like, even though it was a very hard moment of like figuring out who I am on my own, it was very much needed, because now I know like who I am without another person supporting me. I now know that if I'm in a scenario where I need to like fend for myself and push myself to do something, I can do it because I've done it before. It was very hard, but like at the end of the day, I think it taught me a lot. I'm not like happy it happened, obviously, like whatever, not whatever, but like you don't like hope to have a breakup. But I think taking that angle of like the breakup really opened up to like allow me to be who I am today. Like I don't think I would be as social. I don't think I would be as like outgoing. I don't think I would be as open, honest, really reflective, right? It was a very reflective period for me. A lot of those core things that I very much value now of like why I think I'm very successful, or like I like my day to day, is because of that breakup. So I'm not suggesting go get a breakup, but like hardships like that, moments of like where you think there's no solution. I mean, it took me 8 months, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel no matter what. And I think that's the takeaway, is that there's some kind of learning moment. There's some kind of reason you're going through it. And even if it takes 8 months, a year, 2 years, like you've got people along for the ride with you, and there is something at the end.
Ben, we have a closing tradition on this podcast
Okay.
where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing whom they're leaving a question for.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It comes directly from my favorite show, The Diary of a CEO.
Okay.
And the question that has been left for you is, when you get great news, who do you go to first and why?
When I get great news, who I go to first? Mom. Easily. She's the first person I call. But yeah, I tell her everything. First person I call is Mom. They literally happened with my internship. I was in the OCG suite, got the call, and I was like, I gotta go. I stepped out, called my mom. I fuck everybody else. My mom. She is so supportive and is so caring about what I do. Yeah, she can be kind of like a hard ass on me sometimes, but I appreciate that. And like, she's always my first call. If I have a long walk back from Lillis by myself, I'll call her and update about my life. Like, I call my family every Sunday. I'm very like family oriented, especially with my mom. My dad and I are tight as well. I don't want to like make it sound like I don't fuck with my dad. Like, no, he's very much a key player in my life. It's just my mom has always been someone that has been, involved herself in my life a lot, which I at times don't I don't. When earlier in my professional career, even like my entire life, I didn't really appreciate how involved she was. But like later down the path, I really did enjoy this guaranteeing having someone in my life. I mean, even with the breakup, right? She was just there, and I can almost always rely on her. So with good news, I pick up the phone, call her straight away. It's always the first thing I do.
Ben, thank you for coming on.
Of course, I had a blast, Nick. I really appreciate it. I definitely like ranted a little bit at times, but I was glad I was able to get a little emotional in here and talk a little bit about my life. I appreciate the opportunity.
Until next time.
Until next time. Appreciate you.